Record store day is one of those things that's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't done it. It's not really about finding a bargain, and honestly, it's not even about exclusives. It's just good excuse to spend a few hours thinking about nothing but music. I went to School Kid Records here in Raleigh, North Carolina this year. They do it right, by the way. Appointment slots, a digital queue, no one standing outside in the cold hoping for the best. You show up, you flip through the bins, you make some decisions, and I came home with a handful of records, and I want to talk through all of them. Some of these I'd been looking for in a while. At least one of them I probably should have left in the bin. So let's get into it. So first here, I've got Pixies, live in Newport. And you might ask, well, Drew, why do you have 3 copies here? Well, let me explain something. The Pixies, number one, are my all-time favorite band. I've seen them in concert, I don't know how many times. I own just about every single album, every format, digital, vinyl, downloads, MP3s, DVD concerts. And in fact, this is actually from a DVD concert live in Newport at the Newport Jazz Festival, a very strange place for the Pixies to perform, right? This is not a place where, what we want to call a heavy rock, progressive band would normally be set up to play. But they did an all-acoustic concert, and I have to say, it was one of my all-time favorite performances, and I've seen, like I said, a lot of performances of the Pixies, both live and videos, DVDs, YouTube videos, all that stuff. This is hands down one of the most unique performances and one of my favorites. Well, when I got into School Kid Records after, waiting online and so forth, and I talked to Steven at School Kid Records before RSD Day, and I said, a couple of records that are really important to me, this one being one of them, I said, how many are you going to have? Are you going to have a bunch? He said, don't worry, we're going to have plenty. I had a 10:30 slot, which is a pretty early slot. I think they started, I don't remember if it was 8 or 8:30 or whatnot. So I was in, I wasn't way at the back of the line. I was in the, forward grouping. But obviously everybody that went in there were also Pixies fan because there were none there by the time I got to the bin. So how did I end up with 3? Well, after I got out of the shop, I posted a video, a quick video story to Facebook, and said how upset I was that the one true record of all of the records I had come to purchase was sold out. So a couple of people had seen that. And before I get to that, first, afterwards, I decided, well, on my way home, you know what? I'm going to stop by another record shop. There's another record shop called Hunky Dory in downtown Cary, North Carolina. They're a smaller shop. I just didn't think there was any way, a chance in the world that they would have a copy there for me to purchase. And, I didn't really want to deal with waiting on a line. But when I got there, I'm going to guess probably about noonish or something like that. There were maybe 2 or 3 people waiting online. I was like, well, I might as well just go in and see what they've got left over. They had one small milk crate, maybe, I'm going to say 30 records in there, which is nothing on a record store day. And 2 of those records were the Pixies. Now, you're only allowed to buy 1 record, so I got my 1 copy here, okay, and this is the one that I listened to. And then, lo and behold, 2 more copies. So a dear friend of mine emailed me and said, hey, I got something I want to give you. And, we tried to link up for like 2 weeks. He finally met me at a gym one day when I was working out with my trainer. And he drove up to the front. The whole front of the gym is glass. So I saw him go there. I ran outside and he says, I got something for you. And lo and behold, he handed me a Pixies record. And I was like, oh my God, now that is a friend. Well, we got another friend here. So then also, I'm dear friends with Kevin over at Elusive Disc. I sent him an emergency email on Record Store Day saying, hey, they were out of Pixies records. Can you get me one? Voila, number 3. So it pays to have great friends in life. Very important. I'm not going to sell any of these. I'm going to have one that I'm going to open for home, one open here at the Moon Audio office, and the other one I'm going to keep sealed just having for nostalgia purposes. So this was a really important one to me. So the next really important one to me, this is Joe Strummer. If you guys know who The Clash are, this is the lead singer of The Clash after they broke up. He went out on his own, did a whole bunch of records. One of my all-time favorite songs by Joe Strummer is Global A Go-Go. I've got digital copies of this. I've never been able to find it on vinyl. I mean, it's really hard to find. There was one big compilation of, I think, 5 or 6 albums thrown together, really expensive, not on the market anymore, rarely seen on the used market. But I had all these other albums by Joe Strummer, and I really didn't want to buy this entire set just for one song. Boy, was I excited to see on the RSD website that this one was going to be coming out. So, and it's a double record. It's got some great other songs on it. Like Johnny Appleseed is just, one of my favorite songs by him as well. I was so excited to be able to pick this up. This one they did have at the record store, and so I grabbed it. Now, something to think about when you're going down this line in record store day, you can't go back and forth. Like, once you pass the first bin, you can't go back to past bins because there's a line of people there and they want to get in there. So even though you may go into record store with a list of maybe 5 albums that you want to get, you're like, well, wait a minute. I don't know if I'm going to get those 5 records as I go down this aisle. So I might as well pick up some other records. So I ended up picking up a bunch of records just to make sure that I walked away with something, because I saw a lot of people walk out of there with no records. I'm not walking out of a record store without at least one record. So here's another one that I'm really excited about. So this is The Cure. This is acoustic hits. So everything on here are all done acoustically. Some really good songs on here, from their entire career. Let's Go to Bed, A Forest, which is one of my favorites. Boys Don't Cry, which is one of my wife's favorites. My wife loves The Cure, so this was one I wanted to get so we can listen to again. Love Song. I mean, this is a fantastic album with some great hits on it, all done in acoustic. And they had 2 Cure records, a greatest hits and electric, and then this acoustics one. I have plenty of Cure albums in electric, so I was like, well, I don't want to spend $1 million here and buy every single record in the store. So I got the acoustic one. I'm really going to enjoy this. And this one was remastered by Robert Smith, the lead singer, personally. So I listened to a couple of songs. Sounds really great. The Pixies album sounds really great. Joe Strummer sounds really great. That's another thing about records at record store. There's no reviews for these, right? These are all limited release records that are only sold on that day. You can potentially buy some of these after the fact. In fact, if you go to RSD website, there is an actual website for this because it's a conglomerate that all the record stores got together, created Record Store Day. They actually started a business so that they can market this, and they actually promote on their website all of the albums that are coming out on Record Store Day. They also promote all the stores that sell them. They also promote, if you didn't find the record at the store that you really wanted, where you might potentially be able to buy it in case somebody still has a copy. And so the good and bad news of all of this is that you can't really get any reviews beforehand, but if there's something you're on the fence about, afterwards you might be able to get a review and then find a place that might still have an album. So the next one I got is Brandi Carlile. This is live at Easy Street Records, Volume 2. I'm going to have to look into Volume 1. This one I didn't really know anything about. My wife, Nicole, is a huge Brandi Carlile, so I got this for her. One of our favorite songs, The Story, is on here, so I'm sure that's going to be amazing. This was recorded in a very small space. Haven't had a chance to listen to this one. Not sure how sound quality is going to be because it's a live recording, but I'm excited to listen to it. Next one, I'm sure everybody knows who Mark Knopfler is from Dire Straits. Emmylou Harris. I mean, these are 2 juggernauts, right? And they did a combination record together. I think they've done actually a couple of records, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I may be thinking about something else. To be totally honest, a lot of these songs I don't really know, but I'm sure I'm going to like it because I love both these artists. Looks like it was done in Germany. I'm sure this is going to be fabulous. I can't wait to tear into this. Next, a couple of jazz records. There were 2 Chet Baker releases. These were remastered in Japan. There was a Volume 1 and a Volume 2. Volume 1 was unfortunately sold out, so I only was able to get Volume 2. He's a trumpet player, absolutely amazing trumpet player. Sad story. He got heavily involved in drugs. He passed away. I'm not sure of the exact age. I don't know the deep story behind him, but he was one of those brilliant artists that just lived a troubled life, and his music showed, I don't want to say his misery, but there was so much passion in the way he played his trumpet. So I'm really excited about this one. I'm definitely going to be on the hunt for Volume 1. I want to have the complete collection of these 2 records together. Another one, Bill Evans. I mean, how could you not like Bill Evans? Just an incredible piano player. This was live at the BBC. This is going to have to be fantastic. 180-gram double LP set, lots of guests on here. 5 theme, that's going to be one of my favorite songs by him all time. Summertime's a great song. This is going to be a blast. Double vinyl. I haven't opened this one up, but can't wait to check this one out. All right, so let's talk about the whole problem of not being able to see reviews on some albums. So, I'm a big John Coltrane fan. This is probably the worst vinyl record I have ever purchased. Luckily, I only paid $21.99 for it. I was excited about it. I read Tabiri tapes. I'm thinking master tapes. I think this was like a cassette tape recording that was played on one of those small cassette tapes, and somebody put a microphone up to it, cut this to another tape, took it into a studio, cut a record. This is evil. This is just a violation of my wallet. This is horrible, absolutely horrible. And I'm sorry to have to bash it. And collectors may appreciate the ability to listen to maybe these lost tapes or whatnot, but I mean, I couldn't even listen to it. It was absolutely horrific. It came off immediately. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to probably sell it back to a record store. I almost feel bad. I might just donate it. I may just say, here, you can have this for free, because it's that bad. So, which one am I the most nervous about? This is Pink Floyd live from the Los Angeles Sports Arena. This is April 26, 1975. This collection of music was recorded from bootleg tapes that were created by Steven Wilson. These are restored and remastered by Steven Wilson, but these are a legendary bootleg, and I can't remember. I forgot the name of the guy that is very famous for making a lot of bootleg recordings of some really famous concerts. And the tapes were really good, okay? From what I understand. I don't own any of the bootleg tapes, but I've heard great things about them. And of course, this is from tape heads, and playback was always on tapes. So, there's a little bit of, well, it's not going to sound as good as maybe PCM, SACD, or a very good vinyl cut, but it was supposed to be the best of bootleg tapes, and it was remastered and put on this collection box. It's got 4 albums in here because it's a long concert. I'm nervous about this one. This is $100. While I love collecting records, the bottom line is I collect records for the end result of the sound quality and the music. And if I open this up at $100 and it doesn't sound good, I'm going to be pretty bummed. Even though I love Pink Floyd, I'm not a diehard so much like this Coltrane album that I have to have it just because it's something different. It's got to sound good or it's not going to get used for me. So I've read a whole bunch of reviews all over the internet, on Facebook, on Reddit. It's a 50-50 split. The audiophiles are saying it's not very good. The diehards are saying it's amazing. I'm probably going to open it up just because I love Pink Floyd. I haven't done it yet. I'll get back down in the description. I'll give my personal, unbiased opinion. Like, I did it on John Coltrane. So I'll give you my unbiased opinion, and we'll see how it goes. So that's the bulk of what I got on Record Store Day. I had a blast. It was a fantastic time. I love just sorting through bins of records. It's very visual for me too. It's not just about the music, but the artwork that's on the album. That's 50% of the joy. I love opening up albums. I love looking at the liner notes. I love hearing about the guy that was there at the recording studio that had to go get lunch for the band and get the coffee and bring them joints and all this other stuff. It's funny to read all that stuff. So some of these records, if you want them, you can probably find them. Record Store Day actually has a website, like I said. They also have a portal that connects record store websites with stocking levels of this Record Store Day release's availability, as well as past Record Store Day inventory still available. Since these are not consistent inventory release, these are really the only way you can find some of these titles. I'll make sure to put the links in the description below so you can see if there are any albums that you're dying to have. There are a few that I'm going to go get from past years, like Belly, who was a band back in the early 90s, Originally started as Throwing Muses. Tanya, the lead singer, then started Belly. I love their albums on digital. I've heard some not great things about their vinyl releases for a record store, but I think I'm still going to buy them anyway. So that's the haul. Some wins, at least. One I'm still on the fence about, but that's kind of what makes it fun. Record store day is worth doing just for the excuse to slow down, think about what you actually want to listen to, and if you've got a place like School Kids Record running it the way they do, there's really no reason to go. Hunky Dory is another great record store, and actually they've got 4 or 5 different locations: Durham, Cary. They're doing one now in Apex, one in Raleigh. All of these stores are serving beer, so you can have a couple of beers while you're building your collection. So if you're still building out your collection and you're not sure where to start, I put together a video on 5 records you probably didn't know you needed, and some of them might surprise you. Those are linked right here. And I'm also going to be doing one on my 5 favorite records that I use to basically review audio systems. I'll put those in the description below, and I'll let you know we're going to do those videos. And I'll see you next time.